So welcome back to another Tuesday Backstory. This week we're going to talk about when I moved to England and the music business there for me, as well as when we moved back to the United States, to Ohio, and how things went there. So here we go. So in England, the music over there was an interesting experience for me. Obviously, there wasn't as much country as there is in Texas, but there was rock and roll. Through a connection that my wife had at work, I got hooked up with a guy named JP Davis, and we started a rock and roll band. And we played a lot of like Alice in Chains, Puddle of Mud, that kind of stuff. Made one recording, played some pubs, had some fun. That's when I started playing worship music. I got in the local chapel that was on one of the bases, and I started playing worship music for the first time, which was a great experience and kind of opened a lot of doors for me. So soon enough, we got our orders to Ohio, which is our next station after England. So we moved to Ohio. Man, I tell you what, it's tough getting established in the music business because, I tried using my references in Ohio, such as, Kyle Park, Granger Smith, Rodney Hayden, all those guys, right? But nobody knew who they were at the time up there. And so they're like, hey, you're just a drummer. Come audition, blah, blah, blah. So I primarily got in the worship music. Prior to me getting on as a worship drummer, because there was no positions at the time when I first asked, they needed a sound guy. And so I was like, all right, sure. I did a little sound playing around with Dad's equipment when he had it set up at the warehouse. So I was like, sure. I met a guy named Phil Dorman there who later became my mentor. I learned how to run sound and I fell in love with it. Later on, I finally got some drumming gigs inside the church, but I actually went on to become the audio leader. The producer there at the time, Tammy Dennis, her husband was military, and they got orders to move away, so that position was going to need to be filled, the producer position. Tammy was not only a producer, she was also the production manager. She had a pretty big hat to wear. Anyways, that position came open and I wanted to go for it. It sounded like something inspiring that I wanted to do. It was a challenge that I wanted to take on. The only problem being that I still carried a lot of anxiety and depression from my experience going through the challenges of getting the papers drawn for my daughter, my oldest daughter. So what that translated into was me trying to overachieve everything. Like if I thought it was possible in my head, I pushed and pushed and pushed until I could get it, right? So whether that be an incredible show, lights, smoke that the bigger churches were doing, I was like, well, I can do that. So I would push super hard until I got it, even if it cost our own money to make this thing happen. And I also spent a ton of time there. When I was in audio, I remember staying up super late. Like, when nobody's at church, I'd be up there till like 3 or 4 in the morning, dialing in the system or setting up something new because I loved it so much and because I was so passionate about it. But the flip side was I was doing that because I was trying to fill a hole. I was trying to get acceptance through achieving certain things, right? Which is not right. If you're doing that, don't do that. What wound up happening, long story short, is I got burned out pretty easily because I was constantly there. The weight of trying to achieve the things that I created or the situations that I created were very heavy and just added to my anxiety and depression because I felt like I would be a failure if I didn't pull those things off. And it was taking time away that I needed for my family. So I eventually had to call that quits, which was a good thing, but it was hard because the way I had to quit rather abruptly, which kind of left some people hanging. So if you're one of those people, I'm very sorry. Just know I was going through a lot internally that I didn't realize I was going through. So that was that. Thank you for watching another Tuesday. If you haven't yet, please subscribe below and leave your comments and questions, and I'll be glad to answer them. If you've ever gone through a similar challenge or had similar difficulties, let me know and share that with me, and I'd be glad to start a discussion with you so I can help you through what I've already been challenged with. Or maybe you know somebody who's been in a similar situation. Just let me know. I'm here to help. Anyways, as always, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Jeremy Drummer, out!